As Rose from Titanic once said, it's been 84 years, and in some ways it's felt that long, between Mini Metro's release and Mini Motorways finally coming to PC. Mini Motorways is the sequel to Mini Metro, but sometimes with sequels you have a revolution or an evolution depending on the step forward and changes that a series of games makes. I'm delighted to say that Mini Motorways is a revolution rather than an evolution on what Mini Metro gave us, and it's also been well worth the wait, and I'm going to explain why. For Mini Motorways, you have the task again of managing traffic, but instead of it being on public transport and just drawing lines to create funky underground maps that remind me of the London Underground every time I look at the game, this time it's around really aesthetically pleasing road spaghetti junctions. You have houses and shopping centres, probably the best way to describe it, and what you need to do is to provide from the houses enough cars to cope with the insatiable appetite that these shopping centres demand and require. If you aren't able to get the cars to them on time, they'll start to overfill with the need, and then it will collapse your transport network essentially because it isn't efficient enough. The first key change for Mini Metro versus Mini Motorways is that in Mini Motorways you are given the entire canvas for you to paint out your roads however you see fit. You can make them in grid format, you can make ring roads, you can go roundabout crazy, you can go into T-junctions, you can make pretty snaky patterns if you want. It's entirely up to you so long as you've got enough road tiles to do that. And they get replenished at the end of each week. During that week, though, you'll get random drops of new houses and new car parking industrial areas for you to kind of connect back up again. So you'll be constantly redeveloping, deleting roads, realigning roads, working out what could be the best and most efficient way to do something. And thankfully you can pause whilst you kind of think for your next decision and then plummet ahead with it, albeit knowing that probably in about 2 minutes' time that plan will be out of date and you'll need to change again. In addition to all of this, at the end of each week, alongside your road tiles, you get several updates, or upgrades, that you should be able to choose, like special tiles. You get the choice of 2 and you can only pick 1. You'll have roundabouts, which are very handy if you've created T-junctions that are causing your traffic to slow down, because it speeds up your traffic. There are traffic lights, which I have to say I didn't find too much use for, and I usually avoided. It seemed to slow down the traffic more than what I wanted it to. However, if you'd been really unlucky and had had some houses land on a artery road for you, which has got lots of traffic going through, quite often if you had that traffic pulling in and out onto your main road, it would slow down everyone quite a lot. So sometimes I use traffic lights for that. You can also get bridges or tunnels depending on what type of map you're on, and that's because where these are based on real cities, you've got real rivers, real lakes, real mountain ranges that you'll be tunnelling or crossing over. And so you can only do that if you've got the special tiles to do so. So be aware when you get to the end of the week and you're thinking, I don't need that bridge, because you damn well know that it will be spawning something juicy for you on the wrong side of the water. The last thing of your big upgrades are the titular motorways. And the beauty of these are that they can cross over any length of distance that you like. They can't go through a mountain range, but they can go over lakes and buildings without using bridges or road tiles. And so what this does is cover a large space of the map with just one move, but the traffic can also go faster. And this is very helpful when you start to get houses of one colour spawning on one side of the map, but their destination is on the other side. The other key with this, though, is that these motorways can become huge traffic arteries. And so you need to make sure that where you're dumping the traffic in and out can cope with what you're doing. As the game progresses further and further, the level of complexity just grows and amplifies 10 times every time you get through a week, because there are more colours, there are more houses, There are more destinations to choose from. Those destinations can upgrade to have more demand for them, which makes them very greedy. And that's where your traffic issues really start to come into the forefront. And if you've not planned out your motorways efficiently, or if you've got an awkward T-junction or roundabout somewhere, or if you just don't have enough roads, which was where my problems often started to happen. I'd been a bit too pretty in how I wanted to make things look and feel, and I was like, yes, we'll have lovely straight roads and we'll go all the way around the edge of this and that'll be fine. And then you end up running out of road and you're like, I've not got enough cars to sate the need. This would quite often be an issue. In the game itself, there are 11 maps to start with. I'm expecting that the game will continue to get ongoing support, just like Mini Metro has for many years. And then alongside these, they all kind of have their own unique aesthetic. I adore some of these as well. The colour palettes are delicious and remind me of ice cream. I don't know why. Maybe this just is an insight into my personality. But alongside those, you also have daily challenges and weekly challenges. And what these do are add different permutations and mutators to the levels that you've got. So you have things like you only get 2 bridges at the start. You get 9 motorways at the beginning of a level, I saw on one day. There was also another really cool one where I hadn't even noticed them properly until this permutation came up. But there's trees and foliage dotted around the maps on levels, and there was a permutation where you can't knock them down. I just thought it was a nice graphical feature. Now suddenly it's a strategic problem for me. There's other things as well, like all of the destinations are fully upgraded from the outset, so they've got an instant greed demand coming in. And this keeps you on your toes and makes sure that every day you have something slightly new and different to play with. Everyone plays for the same thing, so on those daily and weekly challenges you have an online leaderboard, and I just wow in awe at some of the scores that people are getting. What I have found with Mini Motorways is that for me personally, my high scores are ever so slightly lower than what I'm used to from Mini Metro, but that's because there's so much more room for error and room for interpretation. So I might have a very particular way of wanting to do something, but that's not necessarily the most efficient. And sometimes it's through lots and lots of failure that you start to go, okay. Like, for example, one of my best tips is that if you've got enough roads to do it, is to just quickly map out some just roads that go nowhere next to exits of your destination locations, because some of the worst things that you can do is just then have it crowded with houses, because then you just have a built up area that you can't do anything with and your cars will be really slow there. So there's little nifty subliminal gameplay elements that you can muck about with, and that just makes it so much more engaging and engrossing. No slight on Mini Metro at all. I adore that game. I double dipped on PS4 as well as PC, and I have played it for days at a time according to my stats on both PC and PS4. But Mini Motorways offers that level of individuality and complexity that just takes it more than one step above what was previously there. And yet it holds all of that same amazing, engrossing, existential dread that you know it's going to fail at one point, but you just got to keep going. And yeah, all the thumbs up from me. An absolutely superb sequel. I'm not mad that it's taken this long. I'm just so pleased that it's been done the right way. And this is everything I wanted from a Mini Metro sequel. And in some cases, actually, it started to offer a bit more too. A written review will be over on higherplanegames.com. Hope you found this review informative. If you did, please do leave a like. And if you like finding weird and wonderful games that are not quite sung loudly enough about, then do subscribe to the channel. Take care all. Bye-bye. Higher Plane Games is part of the Higher Plane Network, a completely independent media outlet supported by people like you. The goal is to create the best possible content that cultivates a richer indie scene for games as well as music and entertainment. To find out more and to get involved, visit patreon.com/higherplane network. Your support makes all the difference, and in return you'll gain access to bonus content and downloads. Thank you for watching.